And good afternoon. Welcome to We Believe Digital Studios in downtown Jackson, Mississippi for our twice weekly news break show. We're so glad you're joining us today, and we're so grateful for the burst of support we've been getting in these last couple of weeks with this new production team, up to 688 subscribers. Definitely set the goal for 1,000 by the end of the month, at the rate we're going now, we're even going to exceed that. So when you get to We Believe Digital and like our programming, tell us that you like it. Click that like button, click the subscribe button, and then go ahead and share the link with your friends that may not know about We Believe Digital. So we're happy to have you. We're happy to have your support, and we've got a few shows that are just blowing through the roof right now, bringing us new subscribers, and we're constantly adding new shows as we go along. So my name's Chris Young, and just here with you today for this 30-minute news break show. We're going to start at the local level in Jackson. Just got a few little stories from WJTV, a swearing-in ceremony being held this morning for returning Jackson police officers. How about that? Everybody was running away, and now we got returning officers. Jackson Police Chief Joseph Wade will swear in the officers at 10 a.m. at the Jackson Police Training Academy, and so they're following the ceremony. They're going to discuss initiatives that are going on within the police department. So always good to hear, news like that, positivity with Jackson Police. From WAPT, a man accused of firing shots near the FBI office in Jackson overnight has been arrested. Chief Joseph Wade said the man was charged as a felon with a gun. Wade said the serial number had been removed from the gun, which the chief said was concerning. He did not identify the man who was arrested, but said he could also face federal charges. So, and also, of course, we have the State Fair going on right here in Jackson. Expecting a lot of visitors. They had a good first night, it looked like, despite a little bit of rain. Of course, really and truly, we're grateful for the rain overall. Because there's no rain in the forecast now for about the next 4 days. So we need every bit we can get, as you'll see from another story coming up a little later. So hopefully you'll intend on patronizing bring the kids over to the fair, and God knows there's going to be a lot of security measures going on, and it should be a safe opportunity for you and your family to have fun, and I hope you go over there and check it out. At the broader state level, we always remind you, today is just another day that the Republican legislators have elected not to hold hearings on the TANF scandal. Upwards of $100 million pilfered from a federal safety net program designed to help the absolute poorest families in Mississippi. And these people just go ahead and dip into it for their own pet projects. Now, and nobody wants to hold a hearing. So what about the people that elect these Republican legislators? Don't these people care about this? I mean, wouldn't they want their legislators to get to the bottom of this? I can't make my brain accept that the citizens of Mississippi, all the citizens, wouldn't be concerned about this. So call your legislators, ask them to hold a hearing. We need to get this majority Republican legislators to hold people accountable and be accountable for the systems that they oversee and that they fund each year. So yes, please let your legislators know. It's just, to me, it seems like such an obvious, really awkward thing that these Republican legislators won't hold hearings. The Democrats are holding hearings. They've got another one scheduled for next month, or in the planning stages for next month. And other Democratic leaders. There's an event coming out about the hospital closures, the de-staffing, St. Dominic's dropping 157 people off the staff. There's going to be a press briefing on that Monday morning at 10 o'clock, sponsored by a Hinds County Democrat. Where are the Republicans? Where are you at? You are in the majority. It seemed like you would embrace that mantle of leadership in all its dimensions. So let's look forward to seeing you get on that. Next story is a sad story about the Mississippi River before and after satellite images. This story, only about an hour old, comes to us from Newsweek. The Mississippi River disappears amid high temperatures and drought. The images posted by NASA Earth Observatory show an area of the river near Memphis from above, satellite photos, September 10th, 2021, and then an after shot, September 16th, 2023. So 2 years and 6 days apart, and the river appears significantly smaller and thinner in water flow. The river's bottom is far more exposed than the picture captured in 2021. The Mississippi River has been drying up due to the prolonged drought and high temperatures during the summer and autumn. So yes, we certainly need rain, and the commerce that comes off that Mississippi River is vital to the economies of not just Mississippi, but numerous other states. So we really look for this drought to end and a prolonged period of steady rain and get these levels back up. Another story, this one from Yahoo. For the first time in Mississippi's history, a runoff election might determine what's going on with the governor's race. On the one hand, they say that this governor's race that Reeves is leading by 8 points, but on the other hand, they say that could change in these next 32 days, and there is a possibility of needing to have a runoff. So, for more than a century, the state's 1890 Constitution required candidates to accomplish two things to be seated: receive a majority of the votes and win a majority of the state's individual House districts. If no candidate cleared both hurdles, the race would be thrown to the House of Representatives to make the decisions. Now, the authors of the 133-year-old Constitution wrote those provisions during Jim Crow with the intention of making it harder for black candidates to win elected office. No secret there. This oppression has gone on in Mississippi and continues to go on to this day. But in 2020, a federal judge strongly suggested the state change the constitutional provision, and when Mississippians voted to scrap that provision in 2020, they replaced it with a requirement that the candidate must earn only a majority of the votes cast. So it did away with that other part about the individual districts. The top two vote getters would then go to a runoff. So that's where we stand right now, and the possibility does seem to exist. It'll be the first major statewide election since those constitutional changes, and Republican Tate Reeves, running for re-election as governor, faces a strong challenger in Democrat Brandon Presley, and then there's Gwendolyn Gray, an independent candidate that's on the ballot. Will also appear a third option on the ballot alongside the two major party candidates. So we'll see how this all plays out with these changes. The majority is what's going to rule here. So could they face a runoff? Maybe so, maybe not. We shall see. Another story about that government shutdown that we talked about last week. I should have known this, but had to go back and check and then be reminded by a recent article by the publisher of the Mississippi Link newspaper, Jackie Hampton, that 2nd District Congressman Benny Thompson was the only member of the Mississippi delegation to vote for the stopgap measure to keep the government open last week. We have 4 members that comprise the Mississippi delegation in the House of Representatives: Trent Kelly, District 1, Michael Guest, District 3 rather, Mike Grizzell, number 4 down on the Gulf Coast. But it was only Benny Thompson that voted to keep the government open. All 3 of the others voted to shut down the government of the United States. Think that one through. Next story. This troubling story, once again, about health care in Mississippi. An error made in the Senate Appropriations Committee and passed into law earlier this year is keeping most Mississippi hospitals from accessing the $103 million intended to help them keep their doors open. So the legislature made this appropriation availability of these funds, but there was a glitch in how they did it. They made a mistake. Hopefully it was unintentional. The Mississippi Hospital Sustainability Grant Program is what it was called, part of a package of plans championed, according to the Mississippi Today, by Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann to stem Mississippi's healthcare crisis. It was supposed to quickly send millions to hospitals to help them survive the year. One report puts nearly a half of rural hospitals in danger of closing because of budget concerns. But now, months later, that money has not gone out. And only a few hospitals can qualify because lawmakers funded the program with federal pandemic money, which they were not allowed to do. And Republican Senator Briggs Hobson is the chairperson of that powerful appropriations committee. So they're really not doing their legwork. They're really not looking things through all the way. And to make an error like that on something so important that directly impacts Mississippians' health care is just a sad commentary. You'd think they'd work overtime to make sure that all the T's were crossed, all the I's were dotted, so that could go off smoothly. And back to this election coming up again, 32 days from now. According to WJTV, a new Magnolia Tribune and Mason-Dixon poll shows Tate Reeves enjoying a comfortable lead over Democratic challenger Brandon Presley. So 32 days to go. 8-point lead is what it's showing. So we talked about that threshold before. So if that's the case, he'll obviously be over the 50% threshold if that lead holds, which is, and then they say Russ Latino from the CEO of Magnolia Tribune says that Reeves is enjoying sizable leads in crucial parts of the state. He's up 25 points on the coast. The coast of Mississippi, like hardcore Republicans, and 17 points in northern Mississippi. Presley, he leads in the Delta and in the Jackson area. They don't say by how much. So right now, 8 points overall lead to, but that's something when you think of those numbers. 25-point lead on the coast, 17-point lead in North Mississippi, but still, Reeves is up right now in this poll over Presley by 8 points. Interesting, huh? So that tells you the impact of the Hinds County vote. So that tells you the impact of the vote in the Delta. Absolutely critical that people get out there and cast these votes this year. And if you want to vote absentee, you can vote today. You can go to that clerk's office today and vote. One last story on the Mississippi side before we take a bit of a break here for commercials is that there's 2 brothers in Mississippi, James and Thomas Duff, are now on the Forbes list of the 400 richest people in America. How about that? From right here in Mississippi. And you know who got dropped off that Forbes 400 list a few days ago was the former president, the insurrection president, Donald Trump. So he's off the list now. These Thomas Duff and James Duff are on the list. They co-founded and co-own Duff Capital Investors, a holding company. Total revenue more than $5 billion with more than 20 different businesses. They're 62 and 66 years old, listed as having a $3 billion net worth as of October 4th. They're ranked 379th in the on the list. According to Forbes, they were born in Columbia, Mississippi. and are the only Mississippi residents on this year's list. Their father had founded Southern Tire Mart, and apparently that was a source of bringing this wealth into the family. So much traveling, so much need for tires. So we're out of time for the first segment. We'll dip out briefly and be right back with you.
Hey, have you heard about the Accountable Card? It's more than a card. It's a complete mobile banking service that's accountable to all of us. You'll get a no credit check debit card good anywhere Visa is accepted to make purchases, deposits, even get or transfer cash with an FDIC insured bank account managed from our smartphone app. There's even a pre-approved no interest line of credit if you need emergency cash. So why go to the bank when you can have ours in your pocket? Get accountable. Just download our app today.
Are you dreaming of becoming an entrepreneur, but you're not sure where or how to start? At Entrepreneurs Academy 101, our online program will guide you step by step on how to start and grow your own business. We offer courses such as how to write a business plan, how to create a budget, and so much more. Our online training program is designed for you to learn at your own pace, and there's no set order to complete this program. Because our academy is online, you have the choice to learn with a group, with friends, or individually. Upon completion of the entire curriculum, you will receive a certificate of achievement to acknowledge that you have completed the training needed to become a successful entrepreneur. So enroll today to design the life that you love. Contact your entrepreneur coach, Brenda Myers, at 601-672-0695 or visit our website at www.entrepreneursacademy101.com for more information.
Welcome back to We Believe Digital Studios in Jackson for our Newsbreak show. We do this 2 times a week, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 noon, a 30-minute show to bring you some news. And hopefully you like the show. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button while you're at it. Very important. We got a real burst of subscriptions going on right now. It's free to subscribe. Just go ahead and click the button. Share it with your friends. Our numbers have been really progressing. I want to say around 20, 25 a day right now. So really happy to see those subscriptions. That can help the studio out a lot because especially when you view the show on YouTube, which is what we ask you to do whenever possible, till we pass through that 1,000 subscriber mark. And there's then an opportunity to get monetized by YouTube, which could bring some revenue to the studio. So right now, the revenue does not come to the studio, and so the owner, he is totally out of pocket, and so there's a lot of costs that come with running the studio, so every little bit can help. But the more subscribers we get, the more we can get some help with that. So we're going to pick up on the national side of things here. Remember this name, George Santos? Man, oh man. His ex-treasurer for U.S. Representative George Santos pleaded guilty Thursday to a fraud conspiracy charge and implicated the New York Republican in a scheme to embellish his campaign finance reports with a fake loan and fake donors. So, a lot of things we've discovered fake about this George Santos. But here it is, the lady that ran the money pleading guilty. Nancy Marks, her name, who was a close aide to Santos during his 2 congressional bids, entered a plea at the federal courthouse on Long Island, where she is a longtime political operative and bookkeeper for multiple candidates. Speaking to the judge, Marks briefly outlined a scam she said was intended to hoodwink Republican Party officials into throwing their support behind Santos, who at the time had lost an earlier race for Congress and was struggling to get financial support for a second run. So when you can't do it legitimately, you cook the books, and then you end up getting nabbed on that. So George Santos, not going to be long for Congress. Next story come out of Panama. Rain-swollen rivers only briefly slowed the otherwise uninterrupted flow of migrants through this jungle-covered border area separating Colombia and Panama. And by midweek, another 2,000 bedraggled migrants stumbled out of the Darien jungle. And this report comes to us from the Associated Press. A lot of talk going on about migration right now. Obviously, pregnant women and men carrying children atop their shoulders waded across the waist-deep Tuquesa River into the indigenous outpost of Bayou Chitico, where some fell to the ground in exhaustion and relief as Panamanian officials waited to register their arrival. Crossing through dense, lawless jungle not long ago was unthinkable to most people, but in recent years, it became a brutal slog of a week or more, but some migrants arriving this week described an organized trek completed in as little as 2.5 days on trails marked by colored ribbons and assisted by guides and porters, part of what officials say has become a business generating millions and millions of dollars. Another story from the Associated Press: a federal judge on Saturday blocked 2 portions of a North Carolina new abortion law from taking effect while a lawsuit continues. But nearly all the restrictions approved by the legislature this year, including a near ban after 12 weeks, aren't being specifically challenged and remain intact. So some stuff around the edges of the North Carolina law, but the near 12-week ban still exists in Carolina. So I took a look at the Planned Parenthood website, and from what I can tell, it looks like abortion does remain, broad-based abortion does remain legal in 18 states. That's based on a review this morning of the Planned Parenthood website. Starting next year, people who want to buy a new or used electric or plug-in hybrid vehicle will be able to get U.S. government income tax credits at the time of purchase. Eligible buyers, including those who bought an EV or hybrid this year, have had to wait until they file their federal income tax return to actually get the benefits, but that's changing. The Treasury Department says the near instant credits of $7,500 for an eligible new vehicle and $4,000 for a qualifying used vehicle should lower purchase costs for consumers and help car dealers by boosting EV sales. So big shift going on in the country. Some people accepting of that, some people resisting of that. I have a relative that out in California, of course, has a hybrid vehicle. They're very satisfied with it. They do time on the battery, they do time on the fuel tank, and they get where they're going. They're satisfied. There's enough charging stations, etc. So they're really happy with it, and they believe that it's saving them lots of money as well as helping the environment. Next story, again from the AP, the U.S. government has agreed to help restore a sacred Native American site on the slopes of Oregon's Mount Hood that was destroyed by highway construction, court documents show, capping more than 15 years of legal battles. Wow, 15 years of legal battles that went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. In a settlement filed with the High Court Thursday, the Department of Transportation and other federal agencies agreed to replant trees and aid in efforts to rebuild an altar at a site along U.S. Highway 26 that tribes said had been used for religious purposes since time immemorial. So they're going to get that land back, and they're going to be able to, an amazing thing. 15 years of work, really, against the government and industry to get back what was already theirs to begin with. We mentioned on the last segment the tropical storm Felipe. So just a little status on that. It looks like it's going down, downgraded. Tropical Storm Felipe lashed Bermuda with heavy rains and winds early this morning, but lost steam and has downgraded to a post-tropical cyclone. That's as of early this morning. It still churns on a path toward the Atlantic Canada and New England. The system's located about 110 miles south of Bermuda. Winds of about 50 miles an hour, moving northeast at 16 miles an hour. So they're expecting it to pass near Bermuda today, expected to reach the coast of Nova Scotia or eastern New England by Saturday night, maybe into Sunday morning, but as a much degraded storm, not at all hurricane strength. So hopefully it stays that way. Horrible story to share with you out of Syria. Sometimes we don't talk about them as much, but a drone attack hit a crowded military graduation ceremony on yesterday. This was in the Syrian city of Homs, killing 80 people and wounding 240 others. One of the deadliest recent attacks on an army that's been fighting a civil war for more than a decade. The strike killed civilians, including 6 children, as well as military personnel. Concerns the death toll could rise. And this according to the health minister, Hassan al-Gabash. Syria's military said in an earlier statement that drones laden with explosive targeted the ceremony packed with young officers and their families as it was wrapping up. Without naming any particular group, the military accused insurgents backed by known international forces for the attack and said it will respond with full force and decisiveness to these terrorist organizations wherever they exist. Pardon me. And the last story for you, you could look at it in several different ways, but which category it might fit into, but the story comes from the AP. From Alcatraz Island to a park in New York City, Native American people will celebrate their centuries-long history of resilience on Monday with ceremonies, dances, and speeches. The events across the U.S. come 2 years after President Joe Biden officially commemorated Indigenous Peoples Day. An increasing number of states and cities have also recognized it. Pivoting from a day long rooted in the celebration of the explorer Christopher Columbus to one focused on the people whose lives and culture were forever changed by colonization. Indigenous Peoples Day. This day is about reclaiming history, says Kyle Mays, an associate professor of American Indian Studies at the University of California, Los Angeles. It's acknowledging the history of dispossession and violence against indigenous people. And that's exactly what happened here in America. This was their land, and the colonization of America, British folks being pulled over here, and then inscripting slave labor, taking the land away from indigenous peoples, especially Native Americans. And so Indigenous Peoples Day on Monday. So that's all we have for you on this segment. Again, so happy to have you here with us at We Believe Digital. We're really trying to blow up as a media company and give you all kinds of offerings. We had a new one, comical conversations last night. The studio was on fire in here, getting all kinds of views and all kinds of new subscribers. We're adding new programming all the time. In addition, if you go to WeBelieveDigital.com, not only can you handpick the podcasts through different categories that you'd like to watch, and there's over 1,000 of them to pick from, but you can also click on internet radio, and we've got an internet, We Believe Digital internet radio station, all kinds of blues, R&B, gospel, soul, it's all there for you. We want We Believe Digital to be your choice for, on-demand entertainment, news, sports, community interest, the whole music, the whole ball of wax. This is a black-owned and black-run studio. I had the privilege of finding somebody left a back door open, and I snuck in about a year and a half ago. And I love being helpful here and trying to contribute along the way. But this is built by black people for black people. That's what we're here for. So join us whenever you can. Hit that subscribe button. Watch us on YouTube whenever possible. We know that might not always work for you, but if you could subscribe to the YouTube page, then click on those notifications so you get told when a new segment comes up. Understanding you might not be able to get to it right then and there, but maybe later on in the evening, early in the morning, maybe you will be able to get to it then. In the meantime, it's still sitting there in your queue for when it works for you. Entertainment, news, all the good stuff for you on demand when it works for you. So thank you so much for joining our network here. So glad you're with us. Shout out to this really dynamic production team that we have going on now. Our subscriptions are going up wonderfully. Our views are through the roof, and we're so grateful to them and their initiative and their vision, understanding we're trying to make happen here. So shout out to them, and hope everybody has a wonderful and a safe weekend. And we'll see you back next Wednesday at 12 noon.
Looking for the hottest content in the city of Jackson and surrounding areas? Check out WeBelieveDigital.com. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We Believe Digital Podcast is here for all your podcasting needs.